All right, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that the great stories in the Quran, the epic floods, the arrogant kings, aren't just history lessons? What if they're actually nodes in a hidden cosmic pattern, a code that explains not just the universe, but the very battle happening inside you and me? Today, we're going to try and decode it.
So, we all know the story of Pharaoh, right? A king with immense power, incredible wealth, and an ego to match, building these massive monuments to his own glory. But the thing is, the Quran presents this as something more than just a historical event. It's almost like a timeless formula for a kind of spiritual sickness.
In this verse, it really sets the stage perfectly. Pharaoh becomes the poster child for human arrogance, for building a world based entirely on power and illusion. He's the archetype of the self that starts to see itself as a god.
And that leads us to the big question here. What if Pharaoh isn't just some guy who lived thousands of years ago? What if he's more like a recurring variable in a cosmic equation, a kind of cosmic grammar that just keeps repeating itself, from ancient history all the way to our modern world, and yeah, even inside our own hearts?
Okay, so if there's a code, a cosmic grammar, how do we even begin to read it? Well, the key seems to lie in two primal forces, two energies that are locked in this constant battle all throughout creation.
On one side, you've got Nur, or light. Now, this is the force of divine order, mercy, real knowledge, and submission to the truth. And on the other side, you've got Nar, or fire. And we're not talking about a campfire here. This is a fire of pride, of arrogance, illusion, and that forceful ego. It's a simple dynamic, really. One builds, and the other just consumes.
So where does this huge cosmic battle actually take place? Is it somewhere out in the stars? Nope. The Quran tells us the primary stage is the nafs, the self, the soul, our own consciousness. Your very being is the arena where these two forces, light and fire, are constantly at war. And here's where it gets really fascinating. Once you see this conflict, this light versus fire happening on the battlefield of the self, you start seeing it absolutely everywhere. It's like a fractal pattern repeating in symbols and stories on every single scale you can imagine. So for example, just consider two kinds of mountains. On one side, you have a mountain that represents divine order. Think of the House of Iron, ruled by Suleiman, a king whose power came from submission to God. The outcome there is light. But then, on the other side, you've got Pharaoh's pyramid, right? A totally man-made mountain, the House of Fire, built on nothing but arrogance. And its end? Drowning. A purification. You see? Two mountains, two forces, two completely different destinies.
But this pattern of light versus fire, of divine order versus human arrogance, it doesn't just stop with big stone structures. It actually scales all the way down to the most intimate and essential symbols of preservation and life itself.
Let's talk about the Ark. The Quran is constantly reminding us of it, calling it a sign for all the worlds. This is so much more than just a boat. Think about it. It's the womb of humanity's second chance, a vessel of preservation made of nothing more than planks and nails, floating under the direct watch and inspiration of God. It's literally the universal mother of our survival.
And here's where the parallel is just brilliant. Allah also constantly reminds us of the mother. Think of Musa's mother, inspired by God to place him in a little ark of her own, or Maryam, driven by the pains of childbirth, receiving divine provision. The mother's womb is a personal ark, a vessel of flesh and water, preserving life through pain and sacrifice. So get this. The ark is the cosmic mother. The mother is the personal ark. Both are these incredible signs of divine preservation, floating under God's watchful care.
So what's the ultimate point of this repeating code, of these nested symbols of arks and mothers? It all seems to be pointing toward the journey of the soul itself, a journey of falling, of being tested, and ultimately, of returning. This journey really has three key stages. First, there's the fall, which is driven by that fire of pride we talked about. Second, the test, which is the process of purification through the trials of life, often symbolized by water. And finally, the return, where the purified soul ascends back toward the light, back to its source. It's this cycle that just repeats and repeats. And that really is the crucial takeaway. From Pharaoh's mountain of pride to Noah's Ark of survival, every single one of these symbols is reflecting this one single process, the purification of the self for its return to the source.
So it all comes down to this. The entire cosmos, as it's described in the Quran, is basically the backdrop for a huge battle between two forces, the divine light of submission and the consuming fire of pride. And that battle is happening right now on the stage of your soul. So, the only question that truly matters is, which one is winning? Are you building a mountain of pride, or are you a vessel of preservation, an ark navigating the waters of life returning to the source?